Bloemfontein in the Free State, and we're focusing on this particular province, unpacking their strategy, their way forward for the current administration. If you've just joined us, let me tell you, you've missed out on a whole lot, but don't you worry, there's still quite a bit to get through. So let's get straight to it. The rose among the thorns, if I could say that, in our panelists. We left off with you, MEC. Let's pick up on that discussion now that we had promised just before we went to break. The Eskom issue that had threatened the power supply to millions of people. Talk to us about that 700 million rand plus bill that's outstanding and how you plan on putting a way forward to try and pay that money.
Thank you. The Eskom issue is not an issue only between Eskom and the municipalities. Provincial Treasury and COGTA started mediating in this process, I think, towards June. And in that process, we were consulting with the Ministry of Public Enterprise as well as National Treasury and National COGTA. So we've had quite an integrated approach towards addressing this problem. Now, what we agreed with Eskom during the mediation is to say, let us go to each of the affected municipalities, look at customizing payment plans. The debt is not undisputed. Let us put that clear. There is a significant portion of the debt that is under dispute. We have historical debt that arises from not the past 2, 3, 4 years. It goes even further back. An aspect that people tend to forget is that government embarked on a massive electrification program. Eskom provides municipalities with a certain volume of electricity that they can use. Now, we did some research and compared census results from the last census to previous census. And in some areas, for example, Maluti Apufunkwakwa, you would find a significant increase in access that people have to basic services such as electricity. But the volume allocation has never been reviewed. So on a monthly basis, certain municipalities get penalized for exceeding the volume allocation. But it was never government's intention to abandon this problem of increased electrification to municipalities. So we are challenging a certain portion of the debt when it comes to penalties and interest on those penalties. I think the Premier alluded to it earlier. There is a process now that National COGTA has initiated, and they have specific work streams that look at the financial aspects of the matter, but also infrastructure and capacity building. So we need a comprehensive approach, and what we've agreed is that it is not only these few municipalities that has been on the news. There are other municipalities that are likely to get into these problems. It's not only a problem of the Free State, it's across provinces. So I think the approach that we are currently following is holistic, and it brings all the parties together. And there is a mutual agreement that we need to find an amicable solution that secures the financial viability of municipalities whilst also addressing Eskom's own financial challenges.
We'll have to leave it there. But speaking about the amicable solutions, I want to bring the social cluster into the mix now. We have a question on table 19. I think it's someone who's anonymous because they haven't written down their name, but it's closely related to the legacy of apartheid that still, unfortunately, rears its ugly head from time to time. This particular question is pertaining to property transformation, willing buyer, willing seller, and what's being done about it. But I want to link that with the issues that we've been raising throughout the course of the morning of some racial incidents that we've seen in the likes of education institutions such as the University of the Free State, a high school also. So the issue of racial integration and also getting over the past. So table number 19, you haven't written down your name, but if that question sounds vaguely familiar, then it's you. If you could just stand up. Have we been able to allocate this gentleman? Oh, there we go. Thank you very much.
I didn't want to stand up. But in any event, I just wanted to check this slow transformation of property. Maybe the issue might be there are no willing sellers, or obviously there are willing sellers with abnormal amounts of money that needs to be paid on a particular property. But now I just want to know, in that regard, what does the government, what is it going to do in that regard? And then on the other hand, we say, if we're not going to get the willing sellers, then what is the government going to do about that? Because it's important that government should lease properties from previously disadvantaged. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Issues of land, issues of, I'm not sure if it's directed to you per se, but perhaps you can get out of that what you can answer, then we can pass it on.
All right. Let me deal with this issue of racial problems at some of our institutions. Maybe the first thing to say is that we need to remember that racism is outlawed in this country. Racism is a crime, and therefore every time where it rears its ugly head, we deal with it viciously. We have had instances at universities, at schools, but we must also be pragmatic and remember that it's part of the legacy. We've got a very serious racial problems. There are parts of South Africans who were raised in society, and they were made to believe that because of the color of their skin, they are superior to others, you know. And this has actually been inculcated in their minds for years. And I think we need to be very realistic and say it will take us a process to deal with this problem. But I think it must be clear that it's a crime to be racist. And that is why wherever it has happened at the University of the Free State, the university has come out very strongly to deal with that problem. In some of our schools, we've got a crack team in the Department of Education that we have set up. If there's a racism issue in any school, this team from the MEC's office is the one that goes directly. I'm sure you would have read also in the papers that one of the principals who was suspected of this issue of racism actually has been dismissed, right? So in the Free State, when you are racist, when you're at a school, you must be sure that we're going to dismiss you. And we are not unequivocal about that one. But the issue I wanted to raise was slightly, a very small part before you move to your willing buyer, willing seller kind of stuff. I want also people to realize what we are doing in the black townships, especially in schools. Entrepreneurship, people were talking about issue of job creation. We have started a program of entrepreneurship days in our township school. For example, here in Mangaung, we had a very successful one in Mpatleng in Botshabelo. It's a commerce school. They only do commercial subjects plus mathematics. And it was very, very successful. I want to ask the business people here that you need to give our children a chance. Our children are studying very high-level accounting. I studied accounting myself. And I can tell you that some of the things that they're studying at grade 10, 11, and 12 are things that you and I were doing at university. So if we can actually say, over the holidays, give these children a chance to go and pack in your shop so they can actually, you know, they can understand stock taking, you know. When these children can sit down and balance your books so that they can understand what's a balance sheet. When these children can be exposed to a bank statement so they can do bank reconciliation. And those things, they are doing them. And I think as entrepreneurs, as in the Free State, we are doing ourselves a disservice by not employing this skill because it's already there. They are loitering during the holidays. They are ready. They can help you even integrate your own projects into bigger projects that are needed by government.
Internship programs are the way to go there. We'll have to leave that there for now. I think the issue of willing buyer, willing seller is not just localized. It is a countrywide issue that needs to be unpacked a bit more further and given more time. I think it's very important.
The MEC for Economic Development would deal with it.
But you know why I actually wanted to save that one? Because we're going to take a quick ad break now. And Mr. Komphela has been so quiet, I don't want him to fall asleep. So I want him to engage with us as well and prove whether or not there really are roads that are free of potholes in the Free State. We'll also be speaking to the Provincial Police Commissioner with regard to safety and security. And I think it's closely linked to the University of the Free State. There have been some incidents there of late. I think it was a lecturer, a young lady as well, who died, who was from the school there. Very serious issues that we can also tackle. So with all due respect to table number 19 and the gentleman, perhaps that we can save for a bit of a later stage. Unless we have time, then of course we can look into it. Time always a problem with live TV. All right, let's take a quick ad break and we'll be back in no time.